I'm joined right now by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who serves on the Foreign Relations Committee. You're smiling, too. This is the most bizarre thing in the world. It doesn't matter who you like or who you owe, you're angry at, but why does Trump keep denying the obvious to the facts? He looks the facts in the face and says, I don't believe them. Russians had nothing to do with me winning, or even with trying to screw the Democrats.
Well, you know, I don't think the Russians did change any votes or election. In eastern Kentucky, 70% of people voted for Donald Trump because he was against the regulations that were killing our coal industry in our state. But I would say this, nobody's naive enough to say that the Russians don't hack into anything they can hack into, that the Chinese don't, the North Koreans don't, the Iranians don't, and half of our allies, and ourselves as well. So everybody's hacking into everybody. The bottom line from this is we should protect ourselves. We should understand how people get information, how they steal it, how they get into our computers, how they get into our email, and we must protect ourselves. But beyond that, I think we could beat a dead horse here and try to blame the loss of the election on this. And I don't think the election really had so much to do with this hacking as it had to do with different policies.
Well, the horse ain't dead yet because Trump won't admit the Russians helped.
Well, the thing is I have a healthy degree of skepticism, like Mike Pence said, as well. I have skepticism towards James Clapper, who came to the U.S. Senate and before a committee under oath lied to us and said they weren't collecting our phone records. Do I have skepticism towards non-governmental actors like Julian Assange? Sure. I take it all with a grain of salt, but even my own government has lied to Congress under oath. James Clapper lied under oath. That is without question, and that does lessen the credibility of the intelligence agencies. We go all the way back to the Iraq War. There were people using and distorting intelligence to get us involved in a war.
Yeah, but that was Dick Cheney and the neocons. And Dick Cheney came on our network and said, actually it was a public speech, and said that Saddam Hussein had nuclear weapons, and we've had the experts from the CIA come on and said they never told Cheney that. He just made that up. So you're right. It wasn't the CIA. It wasn't the CIA. It was the politicians and the ideologues in the Defense Department. Of course, we know all of them in that special office over there, that little nest of activity. And the people like Scooter around the vice president, they sold us the Iraq War. It wasn't the experts, I don't think.
No, I think that sometimes, though, there are people who do politicize intelligence. And I think we've had way too much public conversation from people who are leaders in the intelligence. So, for example, half the country thought that James Comey should have indicted Hillary Clinton, and the other half thought he went way too far in talking publicly about this during the election. So it's kind of like, who is left that thinks James Comey did the right thing? Neither Republicans nor Democrats think he did the right thing because maybe he was too visible in the middle of an election. Likewise, I think James Clapper, by being dishonest to the public that they were collecting all of our phone data, lessened the credibility. So there has been, I think, a severe lessening of the credibility of the intelligence community.
I agree with you. Intelligence should be for our leaders. Anyway, let me ask you about you. You're hard to figure sometimes, Senator, and I do respect you because you're a libertarian. Now, by the way, I'm reading The Fountainhead again for the 100th time, so I may get back into your league. Let me ask you about your vote against getting rid of Obamacare. Explain it.
Well, I actually didn't vote against getting rid of Obamacare. I voted against a budget that never balances and adds $9.7 trillion to the debt. Now, the Republicans will say the only reason for the budget is to repeal Obamacare. In fact, they don't want to call it a budget. They call it the vehicle to repeal Obamacare. But it is a budget. The title is a budget. There are numbers in it, and they mean something. And so my point is, as a conservative Republican, I stand for balancing the budget. And I can't, in one hand, complain about President Obama and all the new debt that was added during his administration, and then say it's okay for Republicans to do the same thing. And I think we're hypocritical by not actually putting forward a budget that balances. But yes, I still would vote for repeal of Obamacare, but I would replace it at exactly the same time, because I think it's a mistake to repeal it without having a replacement exactly at the same time.
I know where you stand. Thank you very much, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky.
Thanks,
Coming up, the disturbing story of a young man